Welcome back. All right, so we're going to talk about another preseason game. Tonight I watched Toronto and Ottawa. I had a choice between that or Philadelphia and Boston. I already talked about Philadelphia and Boston, and then I saw the score at the end, and I was like, so here we are. Um, this game was interesting because Toronto, most of the named players for Toronto didn't play today. There were a couple that were supposed to play that last minute were scratches, and so you got guys in this game that didn't play at all during the preseason, and it might be their only chance to wear a Leafs jersey in their career. And you could see it. They were having some fun out there. So honestly, again, while preseason hockey's not for everybody, it is interesting to see some of these kids get out there and put on jerseys, or in some cases, they might be 27, 28 years of age, barely played in the NHL if they've played at all, and this might be their one chance to play. So Ottawa had a lot of their main players in the lineup, a lot of guys who were expected to be on the opening night roster. I mean, you can't read anything into this, but honestly, another part of it, Jack Campbell. Jack Campbell looked good. So, Murray versus Campbell was the matchup. Matt Murray looked good as well. First minute delay of game call on Simmons. The Senators' power play, which was 1 for 13 in the preseason, it gets a lot worse tonight. I'm going to say this. I know they've only got one power play goal, but I think this power play is definitely going to be better than it's been for the last few years. And you could see some of that. Short-handed chance then for Semyonov, who I thought had a decent enough game. And that was on a Kerfoot pass as well. Sanford then tips one wide. Hall breaks up a Pinto chance. And in the end, when the power play's done, no shots for Ottawa. So not a great power play to start things off. And then Colin White gets hurt on a collision with Kampf, and it's not like there was any kind of angry intentions to that. It was just one of those collisions that happens. That 9 times out of 10, 99 times out of 100, a player gets up and they're fine. And Colin White wasn't, and he was helped off the ice. So, no idea yet how long White's going to be out, but that has to be concerning because as Ottawa gets better, if White was to miss a significant amount of time, it could actually take away his roster spot, and he needs to have that bounce back year this year. He needs to really show that upward momentum this year. So hopefully it's not as bad as it looked. The shots were only 1-0 for Toronto at 6 minutes, so not the most exciting game to that point, gotta be honest. But it was game. It happened. There was a puck. There were players. They were wearing jerseys. They were all out on the ice. It was good. So Murray saves a shot from Kampf. Senators had no shots in the first 7 minutes. They did press at 8 minutes, but they didn't get a shot out of that pressure either. Sandin that had a rush chance that was saved. The shots at this stage of the game were 5-0. Hoffenmeyer had a shot that deflected out. Hoffenmeyer, one of those players that gets into a game tonight they otherwise probably wouldn't have. The Senators then get a second power play. The first shot is by Tim Stützle with 7:33 left in the first period. Now, the Senators did start to pick up shots after that. They had a chance that deflected wide with 4:30 left. The Sens had 2 shots at that point. Ennis had a chance that was saved by Campbell, and of course this is after they've killed off that power play. Robertson nearly buries one, and then Mete misses one wide. So we come out of that first period scoreless. And both teams probably, in between periods talking about the almosts and the near misses and the could have been, should have beens. So second period, first minute, there's a power play for the Leafs. It doesn't look great, but then all of a sudden Robertson has a near miss, and then Engvall ends up getting a goal at 2:22. The assists to Hosang and Duzak. And Hosang, it's going to be interesting to see whether or not he gets a contract with the Leafs. I'm 50-50 on this. I think, in tonight's game he was good. I don't know that he necessarily distinguished himself to the point where he's going to sit down with Kyle Dubas and get a contract, but we'll see, right? Senators then try to answer. Pinto had a chance that was stopped. Del Zotto then had a shot that was saved. I thought Michael Del Zotto had a good game tonight. Campbell playing well. Sens were starting to get some chances. Leafs press 8.5 minutes in. Agazino had a shot that was saved. The puck ends up deflecting out shortly thereafter. And Stützle takes a penalty around the halfway mark. There were some close calls during that power play, but the Senators did manage to kill it. The Leafs then pressed with 5 minutes left. Brooks fires one wide. Pinto couldn't bury one there. Leafs clear it out. Kasha was then denied by Murray. Paul had a shot that was denied by that was caught by Campbell. However, Connor Brown would score from Holden and Paul at 17-12, and that was after some good pressure by the Senators. So as this period went along, the Senators got some good chances, and they scored there. 2:16 left, the Senators get another power play. Stützle had a shot that was saved. It was a good-looking power play, but the Leafs do kill it off. So again, it's an 0-4 tonight on that power play for Ottawa, but there are some good things to build upon. There's this Tkachuk guy. They might want to get that all figured out. That was the discussion in between periods, too, was about Tkachuk and what's going on. When's Brady going to get here? Is he going to be on the team for opening night, even if he signed now? And there's a lot of discussion, and I get it. I do, because Brady Tkachuk's really important. And it feels like whatever happens with Tkachuk is going to have a cascading effect maybe on the rest of the young players, right? So this team went into this rebuild with the idea of we're going to get younger, and we're going to have this core, and we're going to build up to being a contender. But if you can't get these guys signed to long-term deals, that kind of cuts that off at the ankles, right? So third period with it tied at 1 to start. First minute pressure by the Senators. Good back and forth play early on. The Senators end up getting a power play. Campbell denies Stützle. The penalty kill, doing a good job of attacking Ottawa as soon as they would get to the blue line. So pretty good back pressure by the Toronto Maple Leafs, and they would kill it off. Agazino then couldn't bury one when they were back to 5-on-5. Robertson at a net drive fires one wide. Bunting then knocked down Sanford, which kind of draws a crowd. Sens end up getting a power play. And I don't like the term knocked down because Sanford was already on his way down and it was just incidental contact, but people get angry because that's what happens. Stützle then fanned on a shot, shorthanded chance for Kasha. Batherson was up to 9 hits at this point. Drake Batherson drawing some interest. So Campbell stops the Batherson shot, and then Simmons had a bit of a word with Batherson. Based on some of the hits he was throwing out there. And it looked like Simmons was willing to drop the gloves and just didn't have a willing dance partner in that third period. Ho-Sang to Amadio nearly clicks. Robertson then fires one wide. Simmons and Paul had a little chat as well. And I think Paul was telling the same thing, like, no, this isn't happening. 7:35 left. The Leafs get a power play. Simmons, every shift, you could see him out there talking to members of the Senators. I really think he wanted to maybe drop the gloves, or he's just chatting with them about the hits Batherson was throwing. And hey, if he's going to throw like that, he has to be willing to drop the gloves too. If he's going to be out there hitting everything, my job is to make sure that he knocks that off. And they did show the hits were almost 2-1 in favor of the Senators. They were doing a good job of throwing the body around. And they were leading in shots at that point, too. So it's been a storyline with Toronto. We'll see if it continues this year. The idea that physically they don't have that intimidation factor. Simmons was brought in part to try to do that. They mentioned that in the documentary that's just been released on Amazon Prime as well. In the All or Nothing miniseries. But yeah, so we'll see how things turn out for Toronto during the regular season when they have their normal lineup in. This was not their normal lineup at all. So there's a shorthanded steal by Formenton. Murray then covered as the Leafs were buzzing around the net, and the Sens would kill that one off. So there's that power play goal early in the second. After that, the penalty kill was pretty good for Ottawa. The Leafs pressed with 5 minutes left. The Senators push back. Holden fires one wide. Dahlstrom then collides with Campbell. And, watching in real time, I was like, how did that happen? Well, Agazino pushed him in there. So that's interference, and so that's a penalty. Murray had another good game. Senators kill things off, and we get into the final 2 minutes. It doesn't take long either. Nice play by Brooks. Brooks, who impressed Leafs fans last year. I'm thinking he's impressing them in preseason. Again, for people who are watching, right? He gets a nice pass over to Amadio, just puts it home. No chance for Matt Murray on that one. That's where he needs the defense to be ready for that. And Amadio buries it. So he didn't have a goal last year. I'm going to go out on a limb and say Michael Amadio at least scores a goal this year. He scores from Brooks and Semyonov at 18:35. I thought Semyonov had a decent game too. I would think he's headed for the Marlies. Good play by Brooks. Senators then call a timeout immediately. They pull the goalie with 1:15 left. Chabot prevented Camp from getting an empty net goal. Senators, though, got pinned down, got desperate, and eventually Semyonov gets the puck to Engvall, who puts it in the empty net at 19:58. And then because it's a preseason game, I get a kick out of this because it's a preseason game. A, they let the clock run out. So even though there was 1.4 seconds left on the clock at the time that puck goes in, they just ran the clock out. They had agreed to have a shootout after the game. And I guess late the coaches go, no. This was not a game that I thought either team looked fantastic. But there were a lot of Leaf players who aren't going to end up making this roster that gave Kyle Dubas a good look at their game because the star players were out. And on the Ottawa side, they did eventually take control. They got off to a slow start. That's something that they're going to want to take care of as they get into the regular season. So, yeah, pretty decent at the end of it. And we'll see how things turn out. But there you go. Let me know your thoughts regarding this game in the comment section below, as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.